What is up, boys? Today I'm going to be reviewing the last belt you'll ever need to purchase. That is the Core Essentials EDC 1.5 inch belt. This is the brown buffalo leather and the X3 buckle with the nickel-free kind of gunmetal finish. Firstly, I will always be upfront with you guys about the gear I review and my relationship with the company. As a full disclaimer, Core Essentials did send me this belt to review. However, I am not sponsored by them, they are not paying me to say good things about it, and I will give my full unbiased opinion and hold nothing back. That being said, I have very little bad things to say about it. So the big question is, what is all the hype behind Core Essentials? And are their belts any good? We're about to find out, so let's dive right in. In the box, it came with a Core Essentials sticker, the instruction manual, which is a accordion style pamphlet, and then a nice product lineup pamphlet to see what else Core has in store. Everything came separately wrapped to protect the pieces from scratching each other during shipping. First up is the buckle itself, which, like I said, has a really nice gunmetal finish to it. They call it nickel-free, but it reminds me of a gunmetal, almost titanium color. This is the X3 model of the buckle, but there are so many others to choose from, including Western rodeo-style buckles, which I thought was pretty cool. The X3 style is almost a faux buckle because it gives the appearance of a real belt buckle when you are wearing it, but there are other less discreet options if you don't care about this feature. Next up is the stretchy belt protector. Its main purpose is to protect your belt from the belt clips of your holster, but it can also double as a belt keeper, or even another place to store your gear, which I will show you later. For an additional $4, this is a pretty good add-on to have. After that, we have the belt hanger, so if you get multiple core belts, you can keep them organized in your closet. It utilizes the same ratcheting system that is pivotal to the core belts to actually retain the belt, keeping your belts organized and preventing them from losing their rigidity. Next is an extra set of screws in case you lose the included set, and the Allen key to install them. It's always nice to see a company thinking ahead by providing spare parts. Everyone loses these tiny pieces from time to time. Finally, we have the belt itself. It feels like a really solid construction with good quality leather. I also love the burnished brown color, which they call brown buffalo. As you can see, the sizing ranges from 44 inches all the way down to 28 inches. You can also opt for an XL larger size belt, which goes from 44 inches all the way out to 54 inches. Here's the Trakline belt ratcheting system, and I will show you more of this later. All of this comes in at right around $70, which is a really good deal. Let's set this thing up so we can see what it can do. The first thing I recommend you do is measure your waist, or at least know your waist size. I'm usually a 30-inch waist, so I'll be adding between 4 and 6 inches depending on my use case. I'm going to be cutting the belt at 34 inches, but I highly recommend you follow the sizing instructions and add 6 inches to your waist. You can always make it smaller later if you find 6 inches to be too long, but you can't reattach the belt once it's cut. Next, you want to loosen the pre-installed screws with the provided Allen key. Once they are loose, open up the belt buckle by pulling on the tab with the Core Essentials logo on it. Double check the orientation of the belt and ensure you place the exterior of the belt facing the same way as the buckle and the measurement cut lines facing inwards towards you. Now push the bitter end of the buckle all the way in and close the clasp. Tighten the screws into the belt, but do not over tighten. Give it a test to make sure everything works properly and you're good to go. As you can see, when the belt is inserted into the buckle, it gives the appearance of a real belt buckle. So first things first, I want to apologize in advance for all the crop shots you're about to experience. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to reviewing a product that envelops that region. When I first received this belt, I was curious to see how it worked and especially how well it concealed my EDC while still being comfortable and adjustable. In fact, I think out of all the daily driver belts that I have used, it does so the best. I'm sure there are many other great options out there, but the functionality, performance, adjustability, and comfort makes Core a top contender for EDC and inside the waistband carry. I think the belt protector is also a nice touch that I don't see a lot of other EDC dedicated belts doing. It shows that they keep appearance and aesthetics in mind even when considering the purpose of the belt. They thought ahead and realized that when you put your holster on and off the belt over and over again, it might cause some wear and tear. And on a quote-unquote normal looking leather belt like this, some people might want to keep it looking nice, so they can dress it up if they want to. It also does not impede the function of my holster clips, nor does it make the belt uncomfortable. It is slightly more difficult to initially install the holster's belt clips over the belt because there's just a little more material for them to slide over, but once they are around the belt, it does not slip off or slide in either direction. The belt protector is extremely tight around the belt, and the contrast between the stretchy material and the rough leather keep them tight and in the same spot relative to each other. Like I said earlier, you can also use this as a belt keeper. While they also sell dedicated belt keepers, this is better in my opinion because it is multifunctional. So if you're not wearing your holster at the time, you can use the belt protector to just retain the bitter end of the belt from poking out of your shirt or flopping around. I've also found a cool spot for my G10 dagger by putting it horizontally inside the belt protector. I know that's not what it's used for, but I'm exploring the possibilities for concealing the stabby. After taking it to the range, I instantly fell in love and was impressed by its rigidity and retention. This belt is also rigid enough to handle outside the waistband carry, if that's something you're into. Unlike most leather belts, Core has placed a power core material in the center of the belt, making it much more durable and resistant to the normal softening process that leather belts typically experience. I compared it to a Max Belt Patriot leather belt. And nothing against Mac belts, I love them too, but the Core EDC belt just outperformed it in terms of rigidity, concealment of my weapon, keeping a low profile when wearing it on its own, etc. Other belts will show through my shirt, and I've even had someone ask me if I was carrying while wearing the Max belt, even though I was not carrying at the time. Looking down from my point of view, it conceals my Glock very well, even when wearing a pretty form-fitting athletic style t-shirt. It hugs much tighter and remains much closer to my waistline, and doesn't have any unnecessary protrusions aside from the holster pushing out on it. I have no issues drawing from this belt, and it doesn't ride up on me when I draw my gun quickly or aggressively. On other standard belts, I sometimes have issues with the belt coming up with the holster because the belt is not hugging my waist tight enough due to restrictions in its adjustability. But with the micro-adjustment Trakline system, you can really tune it to fit you perfectly and adjust it on the fly. When worn in a casual setting, this belt really does look like your average leather belt, which I actually really like. Since I'm now out of the military, I'm slowly changing my wardrobe over to clothes that are not so military-like and tactical. When combined with the discreet 511 Defender Flex jeans, you really cannot tell from just looking at them that both of these products contain a lot of EDC capabilities. From an onlooker's point of view, the belt keeps the gun much tighter to my body, even when wearing a gray shirt, which I think are some of the hardest to carry in because shadows and protrusions show up very easily on gray shirts. As mentioned before, the belt protector also helps reduce wear and tear on the front of the belt where your holster loops go. You don't have to use it if you don't care about the belt getting roughed up, but I think it's a nice touch. Despite how rigid their power core is, the Core EDC belt is also really comfortable to wear, whether you're carrying or not. One of my favorite aspects of their micro-adjustment system is that when I sit down either in my car or at a dinner table, I can adjust the size of the belt with one hand and even through my shirt. This is especially important if I'm carrying so that I can adjust my belt and no one can see what I'm doing. I don't have to lift up my shirt and flash my weapon to the world just to make my belt more comfortable. Then to tighten it back up, you just push the bitter end of the belt back through the buckle. You can do this quietly by holding down the lever on the back side of the buckle. I also don't even have to use both hands. When I'm driving, it makes carrying much easier and much more comfortable because I can just loosen the belt a little and it suddenly doesn't even feel like my gun is there. We all know the more comfortable it is to carry, the more likely you are to do it. The one thing I will say is that if you move your buckle over to the side so that you can wear your belt in appendix carry style, the buckle does dig into my left hip bone a little. However, this is not unique to Core belts because I've also experienced this with other standard leather belts. I have thin bony hips, so if you're a thicker person, your rolls might help you out a little bit there. Additionally, if you wear the belt too tight, you may find it digging into your lower back and your hip region, especially while sitting down. But this is the greatness behind the micro-adjustment system, because that discomfort instantly goes away once you loosen the belt while seated. And an often overlooked benefit of the Trakline Ratchet system is that it completely eliminates the wear and tear issue that most people have with their leather belts, where the holes get completely worn down or even break all the way through. The optional additional belt hanger that they offer is just more proof of their forward thinking. It shows that not only do they care about what the belt is being used for, but they also care about its storage and maintenance. Like most other unorganized dudes that I know, I usually just put all of my belts in the top drawer with my socks and my underwear. But with this, I now have a dedicated spot for my Core belts to keep them from getting bent out of shape so they can retain their rigidity and their function. Also, the belt hanger has a spot to store belt keepers so that you don't lose them. The Core Essentials EDC 1.5 inch belt also comes in many different styles, colors, materials, and belt buckle options. I did purchase this multicam belt with the X5 buckle with my own money, and I love them both equally. But as I said, I'm trying to move away from the tactical looking EDC gear to not look like such a nerd all the time. In my opinion, this belt does it all. It functions like a tactical EDC belt, but looks like a casual leather belt. It's comfortable and functional, and after wearing this every single day since I got it, I think it'll become the new daily driver EDC belt, whether I'm carrying or not. The functions and features are useful for everyday life, not just tactical stuff like carrying a concealed weapon. Whether you eat too much at the dinner table or you just want to loosen up on a long drive, the micro-adjustment feature on this belt is just something I wish every belt had. That's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what belt you use and what you think of the Core Essentials EDC belts if you're rocking them. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.